With the announcement of Tekken 8, I have started getting back into fighting games and even started playing Tekken 7 for the first time recently, which it's a great game by the way. But with all this excitement, I decided to mark the beginning of this series with a special game, and one I don't think too many people even know exists in this day and age. I'm talking about none other than Tekken Advance. My name is StormBreaker Pirate, and welcome to Play or Pass, where I play games for 3 hours to decide if I want to keep playing, or give it a hard pass and move on. Let's find out. Fight!
Rolling up over black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats.
First, I want to give you a little bit of a backstory. When I was 15 or 16 years old, back in 2001, 2002, it's a long time ago now, I played a ton of Street Fighter Alpha 3 and Tekken 3 on PlayStation 1 with my local scene at my high school. We used to hold weekend tournaments for both games, and it was such a great experience. Getting to learn new moves, combos, having a good laugh, man, I lived for this stuff. I adored it. Then a little game called Tekken Advance came out in early 2002. I really wanted to give it a go, but my mates told me it was a waste of time to play, or it was a horrible version of Tekken, better off with just Tekken 3 or Tekken Tag, and finally, just forget it and keep playing Mega Man Battle Network, which was a better game. And I did play Mega Man Battle Network for a very long time, and I still love that game to this day. I might do a video on that. Maybe in the future. But I ended up listening to them, as you could tell, and I actually forgot about Tekken Advance's existence until now. Tekken Advance is a 2D fighter spin-off game for the Game Boy Advance. It is heavily based on Tekken 3, but it also shares some similar aspects to Tekken Tag Tournament on the PlayStation 2. So getting straight into the gameplay, Tekken Advance plays as you would expect from any other mainline Tekken game. You have two characters on the screen who fight it out until one of them is going to win. There are 9 playable characters from the beginning, with 1 unlockable character, bumping the total up to 10 playable characters. The character sprites themselves are pre-rendered and captured from the 3D models that look to be from Tekken Tag Tournament 1. This may come across as cheap, but this reminds me of other fighting games such as Killer Instinct for the Super Nintendo, and honestly that is a great game as well. We may have to cover it one day. But there is a certain amount of charm to this look in this day and age, and I'm all for it. The controls are heavily modified to fit the 4-button layout of the Game Boy Advance. A and B are your punch and kick buttons, R is your grab throw button, and the L button is for a particular mode, or a couple modes that we'll be talking about later in the video. All of the characters' moves are shortened due to the removal of the 2 extra attack buttons that the arcade and console versions of Tekken use, as well as the limitation of animations for character sprites. But I do believe when you work with a restriction, that is where some of the best creativity emerges, and Tekken Advance made a smart move here by simplifying all the moves for each character. With these reduced buttons, gameplay is surprisingly very faithful and maintains the pacing and game flow of what you would expect from a match in the mainline Tekken games. At times I felt like I was playing Tekken 3 on PS1, and that isn't very surprising given that this is based on that game's particular framework. The particle effects when characters connect their attacks are also faithful to the series, although some like the blood can be quite strong and noticeable at first. But the more you play, the less you begin to notice, so it's not really an issue. Sidestepping is also present in Tekken Advance, and honestly, I didn't even know about this until I saw the AI opponents doing it. It really freaked me out, but I couldn't get over how authentic the gameplay is. With its 3D counterparts, it's awesome. The Mode 7 style floor, oh my goodness man, it adds a lot to this, and it reminds you, yep, this is a Tekken game. There is like 8 or 9 different game modes in Tekken Advance, and I was genuinely shocked by this, but they're actually all pretty fun. There's a few I actually couldn't do because I didn't have a Game Boy Advance link cable to play with some friends, so they're the multiplayer versus modes, so we'll be leaving them out of this review. So first up is arcade mode, the standard traditional playthrough of the game. You make your way through several opponents and you fight your final opponent to win the game. And in this case, it is Heihachi who is your final boss. And man, let me tell you, Throughout my whole playthrough, I was actually really loving this all the way up. I did notice a little inconsistencies with the difficulty. Maybe like stage 3 was suddenly a little bit more difficult than stage 2 or stage 4 or 5. But it was pretty fun overall, and I really loved it until I got to Heihachi. My goodness, Heihachi took me like over 10 minutes to beat on normal mode. He is a input reading and a constant blocker, and man, this is stuff I remember from like Jinpachi from Tekken 5, or you know, definitely it was just reminding me of some of those final bosses from some of the other Tekken games. But I finally beat him, finally beat Heihachi, and here comes my ending. It's just some text, that's right. There are no character endings, the game goes straight to the credits after beating Heihachi. I understand though they had a limitation here, but come on, man. I would have settled for a screenshot, something like in Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, where we just got a screenshot of Roxas or something like that. That's 10 minutes. I guess I won't be getting that back, so moving on anyway. Time attack mode is the exact same as arcade mode, except with a timer. Survival mode, you keep playing until you are defeated. Each time you win, you gain a little health back, which is really nice. Compared to arcade mode, I felt that survival mode was really dumbed down for difficulty purposes, which is fair enough. I understand that it probably works its way from easy difficulty to hard difficulty, but come on, throw a punch already. Next is 3-on-3 Tag Arcade. You select 3 fighters you can freely swap between during battle by using the L button on the Game Boy Advance. Remember how we talked about that before? Now, much like Tekken Tag Tournament on the PlayStation 2, if one of the characters are defeated, it is considered a knockout for the whole team. At the end of the 3v3 arcade mode, you'll actually take on a team of Heihachi clones. So yeah, have fun with that one. Next up, you have a practice mode to get your training on, and with all this training, I would like to see Tekken Advance at EVO, just as a side note here. So moving on to sound, I was very impressed with the overall quality. A few of the music tracks in the game are original, and the rest are taken straight out of Tekken 3, but this isn't a problem because let's face it, Tekken 3 on the console was a brilliant game. I might do a video on that one day as well. Let me know in the comments. So all characters are voiced during combat with the usual grunt sounds you'd expect from Tekken 3 or Tekken Tag Tournament 1 era of games. And one thing that did grate on me a little bit was the same grunt noises may repeat 3 to 4 times in a row as they are used for both the attacking and also when taking damage. And it gets pretty crazy. Plus, if you have a mirror match against the same character,
Stop!
However, I feel this was due to the limitations of the Game Boy Advance and not necessarily a deal breaker as a whole when playing this game. I just find this a bit of a funny tidbit. The biggest letdown of this game is only one unlockable character in the entire game after completing it with 9 characters. This is likely due to limitation of the Game Boy Advance. It's just unfortunate because when you play the console versions of Tekken and you come across hidden characters with every playthrough with every different character, and they have their own endings as well when you play through as them, it makes it such an amazing time, and I remember that was the most exciting thing for me in Tekken games. Getting to see these hidden characters, and getting to play as them, getting to see their endings, and being like, man, this is amazing. But that being said, despite everything, would I play or pass on Tekken Advance? Play! Absolutely. I would play more of this game, and I have been. Look, I was genuinely shocked by how amazing this version of Tekken really is, and I hate that I neglected this game for so long and forgot about it. The gameplay is solid, fun, and each character feels respective to their console arcade counterparts, which is brilliant considering the reduced layout with the buttons. They did a great job here. I found myself really digging the 3-on-3 Tag Arcade mode in particular. I think I repeated this a couple times, as it is definitely a standout here. Man, I haven't seen anything else with 3v3 and Tekken, and maybe in the comments you can confirm that there hasn't been any other mode like that. Not that I've heard of, but man, this is so much fun, and I definitely recommend giving it a go. And I wonder what it would be like to play via link cable. We may have to try that one day. But with the lack of extra unlockable characters and arcade mode endings aside, that is definitely a negative for this. Tekken Advance, I think, is definitely a must-play, and once again, look, I can't believe it took me 21 years to play this little gem of a game. I really can't believe that. But I think we can all agree the main lesson here is, don't listen to other people when it comes to something you really want to try. Who knows, it might turn out to be...
Excellent.
Do yourself a favor, grab a copy of Tekken Advance if you can, and let me know if you choose to play or pass. Be sure to subscribe and comment away on this video. I had a ton of fun making it. This was my first time with a full script of a game review, essentially. I'd never done one before. And I think after this, I'm going to be playing some more Tekken Advance to see if I can beat the 3 final Heihachis at the end of the 3-on-3 arcade tag.